Alright, we go again. We go again. We go again, guys. I'm a disgrace, man. You already know what it is, guys. What's happening, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Happy Monday. Happy Sunday. It's sunny. That's what I'm saying. Happy Sunday. It was not a happy Sunday yesterday. We got a lot to talk about. I hope you can hear me now. I hope you guys can hear me now. Big up to everybody in the chat as per usual, because I think we got a bit to talk about. I think we've got quite a lot to talk about, actually. But I want to say big up to everyone as I've hit 1K. You already know what it is, 1K. Big up to everybody. Thank you so much. It's only been like, I think 2 months or so that I've been streaming on my channel. So you guys know that game against KG, it's coming. I've already called him out. I've already called him. I told him, listen, you made a promise. You're ready to get smoked. And he said we're going to do it. So, of course, we will do it. But big up to everybody. Of course, I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. I do apologize in advance if you guys can hear my fan in the background, because we've had an unexpected heat wave here in the UK after it's been cold the entire summer. So, you know, I've got to stay hydrated, but I also got to stay cool. So, of course, I've got a fan in front of my face, you know. But big up to everybody, of course. And I don't even know where to start, because as soon as the game ended yesterday, I had a lot of thoughts. I had a lot of feelings. But me, I don't like to be too reactionary a lot of the time. But before I get into that, let me actually get into the chat. Big up to everybody. Shout out to Suleiman, says congratulations Mina on the 1K. I appreciate it. Big up. I hope you are well. Happy Tuesday for me. Big up Kenny Fan TV as always. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo, says Mina aka 1.02k. I'll take that. I'll take that, absolutely. But as I was saying yesterday, when the game ended, I don't like to be too reactionary. I can't lie. I like to just also watch the game back, reflect on it before I become a bit too reactionary. So sometimes, you know, when I'm on United View and I'm in the studio, my opinion might change a day or two after the game when I've had a chance to re-watch it, and also just analyze the game a bit differently. But I'll be very honest. I think when we conceded that second goal, I kind of felt deflated. But leading up to that, I felt like some of the chances we were creating, I don't think we were taking it. Someone's car alarm going off outside as per usual. You already know what it is. It's not a stream if there's not some alarm in the background. But if we talk about specifically yesterday's game, before we get into all the other stuff that have been actually happening after, because I just feel like with this team, with this club, there's never a normal 24 hours. As soon as the game ended, I think it was like 2 hours later, bam, Sancho hits back online. Then today, you know, story coming out regarding Anthony. I feel like there's never a 24 hours of just normality with this club. With just normality. That's all I ask for sometimes. 24 hours of normality. Before the game, I don't know if you lot remember, 24 hours before the game, the news coming out about the Glazers looking for 10 billion instead. I can't lie. I feel Qatari by October. I don't think Qatar's coming in. I don't know what it is. Suleiman shares the same sentiment. I don't think Qatar's coming in. And I think if they were, it would have been a long time ago. I don't know if the Glazers really are going to sell. I mean, they shouldn't really have a choice. The choice really shouldn't be with them. But I just feel like they're just playing the market at this point. And you know, this is surely this is market manipulation. But of course, we're going to get into that as well. Like I said, there's so much to talk about. But I think the biggest part is what we learned after game week 4. And I can't lie, guys, 4 games into the season and we've got 6 points on the board. I don't think it's good enough. I do not think it's good enough. And the 2 games that we lost, 2 different performances versus Spurs, and then in comparison versus Arsenal. My biggest concern, I think, with the team, and it will continue, is our away record from home. Just how we play away from home. Not even just away record, but even how we play away from home and the manner that we play in, I think is not good enough. Even yesterday, I don't think Arsenal really got out of third gear. I would say maybe even at best. I don't think they looked. I think we were lucky in some instances. Obviously, that penalty against Aaron Wan-Bissaka was not a penalty, and I'm glad that VAR did justice for once. But I also don't understand how VAR happened to miss the Højlund and Gabriel battle, if you want to call it. But starting on the main topic of yesterday's game, I would say number one things that we've learned after game week 4: Anthony Martial cannot play up top. I'm sorry. After watching Rasmus Højlund yesterday, I would rather a Rasmus Højlund cameo followed by Martial coming on for 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. I was very impressed with Højlund, I can't lie, and I hope you guys felt the same. I was very impressed with him. I definitely feel like he had a bright spark. Definitely showed us, I think, what we've been missing in terms of having a striker that can play back to goal, that can bully defenders, that can be a physical presence. Can I say he's got speed? I did not know he had speed like that. Clearly, I didn't know enough about him, but I did not know he had speed like that. I remember when it was a counter-attack and I think Rashford had it on the left. Rashford opted to make a bad decision, but it's like he just got out of gear 2 and bam, I was like, rah, he got wetters, he got speed. That guy has speed. So him fully fit, leading the front line is what I want to see. That's the first and foremost. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo. It says, Mina, standards in the bin. A striker doing normal stuff and we are getting gassed. That just shows you how deprived we've been for so long. Like, a striker doing the bare minimum. He's doing what a striker does. But we've just been deprived of that for so long that we're just like, wow, give me more, give me more, give me more. But honestly, guys, I don't know what you lot made of Martial's performance, but I just feel like that was just, it was a very interesting cameo. Erik Ten Hag seemed to think that he had a good performance. I felt like he was pretty non-existent. When he does have the ball, I look at him and I think this guy, we talk about Eriksen having no legs, yeah? Martial's got no legs whatsoever. There's absolutely no way we should be criticising Eriksen, because Eriksen, I saw a little burst of pace yesterday for his assist. I did not see that at any point from Anthony Martial. And you know what? I think maybe it's just past the time of needing Martial. He's given us his best number of years, I think, and you know, I think the inability to kind of offload him, we just kind of maybe have to see his contract out. I don't know if we can't sell him, but if Rasmus Højlund, please, if you can stay fit, my brother, I will absolutely not get a shirt. I won't get a Rasmus Højlund shirt, but I will support you 110%. Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Dalot locked up Arsenal wingers. Big up to Wan-Bissaka. I think he had a good game I think he had a very good game against Martinelli. I think even Dalot had a good game. I think bar that last chance, I would say that Gabriel Jesus goal. The only thing I would say in that particular instance, maybe he didn't do his due diligence, or he didn't do his research, or in the split second maybe he forgot, but Jesus is right-footed. He was dragging it to his left. He should have stayed up. I think sliding prematurely kind of messed him up. If he had not slid early and kind of stayed on his feet, he might have been able to get a better block off, because Jesus was always going to come onto his right foot. He was always going to come onto his right foot. But I think aside from that, they both had 2 games. I'm really concerned about actually our centre-backs dropping like flies. Obviously, we can talk about that. That Gabriel foul on Højlund was a stonewall penalty. I do not know how they didn't give it. How they did not give it, I do not know. Martial is a shell of his former self. I don't think he's got the legs for it. I don't think the guy didn't have any preseason, so maybe that could also be a reason. Martial was nowhere to be seen. Quite a few of you guys, I think, agree with me on that instance. Big up to Dipesh, says Martial literally had no service though, pumping long balls. United need to improve on the ball, especially away from home. I think we saw him quite often coming deep. We saw him going out wide. I saw Rashford going through the middle some instances, and Martial going out wide. And in that particular opportunity, or them particular moments, I would honestly rather Martial just stay central, because he's not got the legs to be on the wing, even if it's just an interchangeable moment between the front three, which we see sometimes. You see it often in football when the front three kind of interchange. I think it's one of them ones where I would rather Martial just always stay central, because my brother, you have not got the legs for it. You ain't got the legs to run on the with pace. Big up to Nura, says Mina and Isaac. are siblings. You're not the first person to say that to me. Definitely not the first, and definitely won't be the last. Sell Martial and buy an experienced striker. The question is, who's going to buy him? That is the question. Who is going to buy Martial? I don't know who would buy him. I think he's got, 2 years left on his contract? Maybe a year left on his contract? I might be wrong. But I think that's another one of my takeaways. One thing I will say is that I saw so many people mad about the team that we ended with in the last couple of games. In the last 10 minutes or so of the game. Obviously, Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans centre-back pairing. I'm sorry, yeah, I mean this in the most respectful way. Johnny Evans should not be playing for the club, and I don't mean that as a target at him. I mean that as a target to the management and the senior ups at Manchester United. The fact that we were linked to Kim Min-jae, we were linked to Todibo, Tapsoba, Benjamin Pavard, and we walked away with Johnny flipping Evans. Johnny flipping Evans. Leicester centre-back 4 years ago. Him and Maguire, centre-back pairing at Leicester 4 or 5 years ago. There is absolutely no reason they should be playing for the club. And no criticism goes to them. No criticism, I would say. Maybe even Ten Hag, not too much criticism. I do question why he kind of pushed for Mason Mount when we should have went for a centre-back. Again, I kind of question that. But also, the club, I genuinely feel like the anger and frustration regarding that should be at the management, whether it's Richard Arnold. You lot, what people are saying, Murto Madness. Murto Madness brought us Johnny Evans. That brought us Johnny Evans. I cannot believe, guys, I cannot fathom that I'm saying this. 10 years later, after we won the Premier League, he's the only, coming into the season, yeah, before Johnny Evans came, De Gea was the last Premier League winning member of that 2012-13 team. Yeah, and now Johnny Evans is back. So now he's still there. I don't know what possessed them to give him a 1-year contract, because I genuinely, and I mean this wholeheartedly, would prefer having someone we pluck out of the academy, yeah, and give an opportunity to, and bring him into the bench. We went from, and I know it's no secret, guys, because with Raphael Varane, yeah, he retired from international football because he knows his body cannot cope with international and club football. We know brother's made of glass. He is injury prone. Lisandro Martinez just came back from an injury. Shouldn't be rushing him too much in terms of match fitness. He goes off yesterday. Apparently he didn't even go off injured. Apparently he wasn't even injured. Apparently straight after the game, him and Garnacho left for international duty together. Lindelof left limping. We knew that we were literally one injury away from like a domino effect, and we did not sign a centre back. And I think it's because they were relying on Luke Shaw staying fit. I think they were relying on Luke Shaw to stay fit so that he could be an alternative option for centre back, and I don't think that's good enough. I think when we need another centre back, you shouldn't rely on somebody playing out of position. I don't think you should be relying on that. Big up to everybody in the chat. I'm just trying to get to all the comments. I need to scroll up a little bit. Eric Ten Hag, worst manager in the Prem. We know Ak is not a fan of Eric Ten Hag. Big up to Pyramid Scheme, says, I saw the depths of our deadness, Mina, the trenches, an abyss where football owes to die. Big up the chat. I know everybody's still kind of feeling the pain from yesterday's loss. Big up to Dead and Gone, says, we overachieved last season, not panicking. We've yet to play with our first 11. I hear it. But then again, I am concerned about some things. Some things in the performance yesterday was concerning. Big up to Austin, says, drop a like for me. I said, with chest, 8-2. Shout out to Nuru, says, Rashford really irritated me with his decision and selfish, lazy, and zero work rate. Big up to Koala, says, big up Mina, big up everyone. I'm on Aki settings today. I hope that means that you're not Ten Hag out and you're just on reckless mode. I hope you're on reckless settings. I bet you it's the hyenas still cursing us. We're done by the black magic judge. I seek refuge from any black magic up in this place. Rashford, this is a great point. Big up. Rashford pulling out of the challenge before Arsenal scored the third goal is something Sancho would have never gotten away with. He would have received heavy criticism. What Rashford did is criminal. I think I've seen Rashford get criticism. And I hate when people, like, one thing we should not do is, like, pen people against each other. Like, oh, if this player did that, then, you know, blah, blah. Because I'm going to come on to the whole Sancho thing, because I think there's obviously a lot to talk about in that instance. I would say that even before that moment of Rashford pulling out of a challenge, I think throughout the game he did good defensively. He supported with the overlap from the fullback. He was supporting his fullback, etc. But I feel like sometimes his decision making is so questionable, and I wonder if Ten Hag gets frustrated with it, because there was just one instance I can remember, but there was a few in the game yesterday. When we were on a counter, it was a 3-on-3. And then he kind of slowed down, cut in on his right foot. At that point, I think it was like 3 or 4 players were surrounding him. And bam, he just got dispossessed. Højlund was making a run. Anthony was making a run. Both of them making runs into the box. Albeit it wasn't good runs. They were both going back post. So it wasn't really great runs. But, again, questionable decision making. I think one person I was frustrated with yesterday was Bruno Fernandes. There's far too many games that I watch, right? And don't get me wrong, this is not me saying Bruno out, but this is just me picking at something that I saw that bothered me, similar to, you know, other players. But there was an instance, and it was actually not an instance. I saw it 3 times during the game, probably more if I was actually paying attention more to Bruno. But guys, have you realised he goes down so easily, complains, and I know this is what other players have complained about what he does, but he goes down so easily. And then we get caught in transition, or we get caught on a counter, or he goes down and does not get up and complains and moans before he gets up and carries on with it. And even yesterday, I saw it when I watched it back, but I saw it in the moment as well. There was a chance, I think it was like 87th, 86th minute. This is before, I think, when they scored, maybe before they scored their second goal. He was just walking. He was just letting people walk past him. It wasn't even like a little jog, like he's got his arms up like this, acting like he's running, but there was nothing there. And for me, it was just so frustrating. It was, honestly, guys, so frustrating. And I see it more maybe when we play top 6 teams, because that's the top 6 is when you need your best at 100% in the game. And I feel like now I'm starting to pay more attention to what Bruno does. I'm not saying he goes missing, because there was some things he was doing yesterday, keeping the ball ticking, etc. But I just felt like when you go down so easily and it's continuous, you've seen the first or second time, you've seen the ref is not giving you that call. Stop it. Just stop it. Just get up and continue. We play with one less man as a result, and then we get caught in transition. Big up to Dipesh, says Bruno does that all the time. Very overrated by the United fan base. Damn, that made me choke. Big up to Usif, says as long as Erik Ten Hag is here, we will never move forward. I see that there's people now saying they want Ten Hag out. I've seen people saying that he's not good enough to be the manager after a loss against Arsenal, a loss against Spurs, of course, the Sancho thing unveiling right before our eyes. And I feel like because of social media, where players are exposed to a lot more when it comes to not just fan content, but online, on Twitter, all of that kind of stuff. I think players are exposed to a lot more. And as a result, I feel like, and I'm going to come onto it, regarding Jadon Sancho, I feel like Jadon Sancho felt like he had to defend himself. For what reason? I don't know why. Big up to MUFC, says congrats on 1k subs, inshallah 1 million soon. I learned we winning nothing of value with the Glazers. Boycott the Glazers and their sponsors all together. Listen, Glazers need to be out. I just what do fans have to do at this point? And also, can I just say, guys, yeah, regarding the news about takeover and that, someone asked me the other day why I don't stream when there's new takeover news, and like, for example, on Saturday there was new news regarding the takeover. I don't stream because if it doesn't come from the Financial Times, it doesn't come from Bloomberg, it doesn't come from business, etc., financial outlets, I'm not paying attention to it. Rashford did nothing apart from scoring the goal. I think people got some strong words for Rashford definitely after the game. Koala is back on Google Translate, of course. If Bruno wants to be captain, he needs to keep his head and nerves, especially in the big games. He needs to keep his head up, and in the game, take it by the scruff of the neck and actually impact. You know what? I agree with that 100%, and I see these conversations all the time when people talk about Bruno versus Odegaard. But I don't know if you guys realized yesterday, when Arsenal were in attack, they were trying to find Odegaard because he's the guy that keeps that ball just ticking for them in the midfield. Whereas, you know, when it goes out to their wingers bring it back to Declan Rice, bring it back to the middle, bam, go back out to Saka, bring it back to the middle. But the second that ball gets to Odegaard, you know something's cooking. You know something's cooking. And I want to see that with Bruno, but not just see it. I want to see it consistently. I want to see it in the big games. After the international break, guys, we got Brighton and then Bayern Munich. We are possibly going to the Allianz Arena against Harry Kane, Jamal Musiala, Serge Gnabry, Leroy Sané. We are going up, Coman. We are going up against them with Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire in our backline. Do you know how worrying that is? Do you know how scary that is? Do you know how concerning that is? That is so concerning. I'm not doing this. We've sacked managers before by backing players. There's players here who have been here for half a decade and now they've got more power than ever. 100%. I feel like this whole player versus manager thing, I think in the instance of Sancho, I don't think it's a player versus manager thing. I think he has his right to have questions as to why he doesn't start. But I'm sorry, if the manager says you are not performing well enough in training, do you know how embarrassing it should be for him that academy players are playing better in training and working harder to get onto the bench? Do you know how embarrassing that should be? I'm sorry, first and foremost, yeah, I don't even want to talk about salary because at the end of the day, Ed Woodward effed us up when it came to throwing out paychecks. But can I just say that there's players from our academy products that work hard enough in training when they train with the senior team because they know it's an opportunity they have to grab by the neck. And they can end up on the bench, but you can't. You should question yourself and how hard you work. Because clearly you're not don't come and say you're working hard in training because clearly you are not working hard enough. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. The first 2 games of the season, he came, I think, on as a sub. I was impressed with him. And I know people always question why Anthony always starts when he drops stinkers and that. And does Ten Hag have his favourites? People are allowed to have questions. I think it's very warranted to have questions regarding that. Because I have that question sometimes too. But it also just makes me wonder. Remember, guys, we see 1%, maybe even less than that. We see 1% on what happens behind closed doors. And this is not in any way me siding with Ten Hag, and this is no way me siding with Jadon Sancho. But it cannot be a coincidence, guys, that this is not the first time something like this has happened regarding a manager questioning Sancho's training or the way he works in training and how much commitment he has. I mean, I saw reports saying, I don't know how true it is because... Again, I don't know how true it is. It's just rumors, speculation, whatever. But I saw a report saying a couple of weeks ago he was late to training multiple times in a week. Then I remember seeing an article that I actually saw, a real article, I think it was Daily Mail or something, regarding how he's been late to training but when he was playing at Borussia Dortmund because he'd stay online and play PlayStation. I hear it. I do it sometimes too. I'm not a professional footballer. Not saying that I'm allowed to do it, but I'm not a professional footballer, and... you know, the commitment has to be a whole nother level. And then, obviously, I saw the reports around the England stuff a couple of years ago with Southgate. So it can't be a coincidence that this is not the first time a manager is calling him out on this. And I think, and one thing I will say is, and I will be very honest, and this is where I stand on this whole situation, yeah? Whoever advised him to put out that statement set him up. Whoever advised him, or maybe it could have been like from his frustration of seeing this, because that statement went out, I think it was like 45 minutes maybe after the press conference. after Ten Hag did the press conference, and so he was asked about Sancho. It literally went out about 45 minutes after that. I know he's got a team around him. Obviously, all footballers always have a team in terms of people that advise them, social media, all of that kind of stuff. But that was poor advice to put that out. I think the way that, and people are saying, oh, he was disrespected in public, so he has to, you know, address it in public. He wasn't disrespect. Am I the only one that thinks he was not disrespected? Somebody asked the manager, why is Sancho not playing? He's defended Sancho a lot, guys. Come on, we till today do not know why Sancho was sent away for 3 months. We still don't know that. We just know that he was having personal issues and he wasn't training well. Yeah? We still don't know. Ten Hag kept quiet about that. Ten Hag reintegrated him slowly into the team. You know, gave him some extra workouts during... He was working out longer during preseason. Playing in preseason games. I don't think it was disrespectful. I seen Pep Guardiola calling Calvin Phillips fat. Is that not disrespectful? Is that not disrespectful? I think the only thing Ten Hag probably did was, I would say... Because the thing is, actually, because I was going to say what Ten Hag did was wrong, but be honest, guys. Let's be very, very honest with ourselves, yeah? When Garnacho was not integrated into the team, like, quickly, the manager never said it. The manager never said it, but it was Bruno Fernandes, I remember, that said it in a press conference, that said that, Garnacho had issues during preseason. He wasn't, like, being professional, blah, 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 so he never got his chance, but now he got his chance, yeah? Rashford was dropped against Wolves. They asked Ten Hag after the game, before the game, they asked him, why was he dropped? Ten Hag said the truth, disciplinary, guy was late. So I'm so confused as to how this is basically Ten Hag dragging Sancho in the mud, because all he said was he's not been working hard during training, or he hasn't been training to the standard of match quality. And I hear it, like I totally hear it. Like I just don't get how people can say that what Ten Hag said is wrong. Maybe he shouldn't have said it. I don't know. We can have a debate about whether he should have said it or not. But what he said per se was not wrong. And I think even his statement, because I'm gonna go back and read Sancho's statement. Yeah, even I think that Sancho's statement is a bit wayward. Is a little bit wayward, because he starts it off by saying, "Please don't believe everything you read." Firstly, we didn't read anything. It was from the press conference. It came out of Ten Hag's mouth. It wasn't a journalist that put it out. This is what I'm saying. This is a PR. Someone who does, his PR advisor, whatever, made the statement for him, because he started it saying, "Please don't believe everything you read," which is a typical statement you would say when an article has been published about you or something. But when it's the manager saying something about you, you can't say, "Please don't believe everything you read," because we heard it from the donkey's mouth. Anyways, I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. So he's basically calling Ten Hag a liar. I have conducted myself in training very well this week. He thinks he's conducted himself very well, but maybe it's not to the standard of the manager and the coaching staff, which again is debatable, isn't it? It can be questioned. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. Now the scapegoat part is interesting, because obviously I think everybody's seen about what happened at Borussia Dortmund when he felt like he was a scapegoat, and this was, I think, just before he joined Man United, the season before that he joined Manchester United. I think using the term scapegoat makes him into a victim. We don't know what he's a victim of. Is he being treated wrong? Is there favoritism going on? I think it makes everybody kind of question, you know, what is he a scapegoat of? Because I can't lie, when I saw that, I was like, rah, what's happening behind closed doors that we're not aware of, that he's being questioned, that he's being labelled, like he's labelling himself as a scapegoat. Let me see what the chat is saying, actually. Ten Hag was asked a question and he answered. There's no need to lie about it. Again, I agree. I think in an instance where you don't need to protect the player, because I think if it was something a bit more like of a touchy subject, for example, when he got sent away for 3 months, if it's that, I understand lying, saying, oh, he's just training, that's it, or he's sick. But if someone's not performing well in training, or they're not performing to the standard of match day, I think, like I said, I think it's embarrassing on Sancho's behalf that academy players are working harder than you to get into the match day squad. maybe Sancho feels like, guys, do you think Sancho feels like he doesn't have a point to prove? Does he feel like his talent speaks for itself and he shouldn't have to fight for a spot? Because I get it. The first 2 games of the season, he had some cameos. I think the Wolves game, he came on and was easily one of the best substitutions that we had that game. Even in the Spurs game, he was a bit better. So he has every right to question why he might not have been maybe starting or something when other people... Look, Garnacho got dropped after 2 games. After 2 games, Garnacho got dropped to the bench. Yeah? So Sancho's probably thinking, why am I not getting a starting opportunity? But if you're not working hard enough in training, I don't know, man. The scapegoat part really threw me off in the whole statement. I'm not going to lie. It really threw me off. Big up to Dead and Gone saying you have to meet a high standard in training to be on the Manchester United bench should be a minimum standard from a pro footballer. That's not disrespect. I agree. I don't think if a manager's asking you to give 100% in training, then I'm sorry. Training isn't... as a professional athlete, obviously I'm not an athlete in it, so I can't really talk too much about what athletes do and don't, but I know people who are athletes in different sports, athletics. I know people that are athletes in football, basketball, etc. They work their socks off during training. Like, they work, like, to them training is like an actual match, because that's the closest to match ready that you will get. Does Sancho feel like he doesn't have something to prove? Because beginning of the season, guys, I said, who did I say that has something to prove this season? I said Jadon Sancho needs to play like he's got a chip on his shoulder, like he's out to basically prove everybody wrong. And he feels completely different. He feels completely different. Let me scroll up to see what you lot are saying, because I actually want to start from the beginning of this. Garnacho is doing better and kicking up less of a fuss, causing less drama than flipping Sancho, who's supposed to be a world beater and world class. Come on, man. Even Sancho's brother, I saw people bringing up the tweet about his brother, and I don't know, people were speculating that tweet might have been relating to Sancho, and maybe Sancho got beef with Anthony. We don't know too much about that. The reaction to the start of this season is due to the toxic mix, social media and generational expectations. The social media generation have no patience. United will never be able to build a team. I think since the season start, we had Mason Mount's brother coming out on social media. We had Garnacho's brother coming out on social media. Now we have Jadon Sancho. Bro, we are only 4 games into the season, and that's happened so far. And you know what also is disgusting behaviour, guys? I think is disgusting behaviour. Piers Morgan and that other guy, Stephen Bartlett, that guy that always promotes his little protein shakes and his thing. I enjoy listening to his podcast, but the fact that they were all over Sancho's tweet saying, oh, Piers Morgan replied back saying, oh, come on to Piers Uncensored so we can reveal to the world about Ten Hag, basically. And the other guy replied back with the eyes emoji. I'm sorry, but... you're just trying to get your clicks in. Garnacho was told he wasn't impressing in training when the fan base wanted him so bad. He worked his socks off and got his opportunity. I 100% agree. It's very clear one of his idiot friends he gave a job to wrote that out for him. The copy for that statement is year 10 at best. It was straight from the notes app. That's what makes it even more funnier. If Ten Hag was disrespectful, he should have said that he's crap and he's never been good since I've been here. Exactly, I agree. Like, if you're going to throw a spanner into a works, make sure you do it, like, completely. Do it completely. Big up to Rich in the building, says, I agree, Mina. It was just a simple, straight comment that he made his decision for the frontline options based on training performance. Simple. It's been blown out of proportion. The thing is, if it was any other player that he said that about, per se, I don't think... there would have been any sort of backlash, if you know what I mean. I don't think there would have been any sort of outrage. I don't think there would have been any of that, because I doubt a player would have reacted in the same way that Sancho did. I don't think so at all. Like, if that was Rashford that was dropped out of the team, Martial, whoever that was, I don't think we would have seen such a reaction. And it's only because it's, I think, Sancho. Because Sancho feels like, I genuinely feel like Sancho... at this point in his, I'll say, I think that Sancho probably feels like he's been a bit scapegoated, but for a bit of time, and it's one of them ones where I don't, guys, can you guys put in the comment, do you guys think Sancho this is now his third season, do you guys feel like he's been scapegoated at any point during his career? Whether it's his first year, after his first year, everybody said, oh, you know, it's his first season here, United going through a lot of changes, new manager, interim manager, all of that. We're going to let him, like, next season he'll cook. The next season came. He had his problems halfway through the season. I think it was after, like, October, we never saw him. Everybody was like, we stand by him. Every fan I know was like, we stand by him, we stand by him, we stand by him. He made his appearance at Nottingham Forest, Carabao Cup. I think it was the second leg. Patience. Everybody patient with him. And then again. So I don't know where this whole thing of scapegoated is coming from. I think Sancho was more addressing the way socials and journals started writing more than what Ten Hag said. You know what I think? I think Sancho was more triggered maybe about the reaction on social media to Ten Hag's comments rather than what Ten Hag actually said. Because he had one line about, I've been working hard in training this week, and then all the rest was, don't believe what you read, I've been a scapegoat, there's more to the story basically than you know. People interpret the not true as what the media reported, but that's what literally Ten Hag said. I'm laughing. Exactly. I don't know how you can say it's not true what you read, but it came from Ten Hag. And I'm pretty sure they have footage of training. I'm pretty sure the club have footage of training. Sancho needs to go to Saudi, man. I don't think he's... I don't say he's done for. I still think there's a lot from him, but I don't know. Maybe he's lost the passion and desire for football. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it. Big up to Andre. He's working, but he's not working hard enough for the manager. And that's the thing. He might be working hard to his standard, but he ain't working to the manager's standard. And I think that's where the questions kind of lie. When will the lie stop that Erik Ten Hag plays better football than Oli? I think one thing I've gathered, big up to Yusuf. Yusuf is not a fan of Ten Hag. He's already calling for Ten Hag out. Like quite a few people actually are. I think I'm starting to see the fan base a bit more divided on the manager. I wouldn't say like there's a big division, but I definitely can see a little bit of a division. Sancho would probably go PSG. They've got holes in their attack. It would make sense. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I don't see PSG looking at Sancho. I think they're happy with their Kolo Muani, their Gonzalo Ramos, and they got Ousmane Dembele. They've got Kylian Mbappe. PSG don't need Sancho. They don't need him. He should go back to Borussia Dortmund. Big up to Nero Knows Ball says, big up to you, Mina. I like the way you see the game of football. Hopefully we can collab soon. I'm open to collaborations all the time. Big up. I appreciate it. Roy Keane said, we are the new Spurs. This club is done. I'm on vibes, fam. The one time we get African players in the team, we're playing terrible. I want Ange. What? Damn. How are you saying I want Ange after all of that? Sancho has been given more chances than Rashford and Anthony. It says a lot about the patience we've shown him and given him. And you know what's quite frustrating? I saw a report today saying, again, I don't know how true it is, because sometimes I feel like journalists just say stuff for the sake of it. But Erik Ten Hag obviously wanted to sell him this summer, and I feel like the club apparently didn't want to. It was vetoed by people senior up. I don't know why. I cannot think of why, unless it was like, we will not be able to offload. Let me turn off this fan because it's making me sneeze. But I'm thinking Sancho leaving. The only way I can see the club vetoing it is the fact that they didn't probably want to pay his salary outright. Basically the same issue they had with Harry Maguire. If you guys remember, Harry Maguire and West Ham, the club were meant to cover the difference between the salary of what West Ham were offering versus what his contract was. And I think the only way I see it is that no club, I honestly think no club will pay Sancho more than 100k a week. Honestly, that's my honest opinion. Right now, the form that he's in, 100k a week, meaning the club would have had to cover, hypothetically speaking, say he went to Spurs, because I remember at the beginning of the window there was links of him going to Spurs. If he had gone to Spurs for what was it, 40 million or whatever the price was, the club and Spurs offered him 100k, the club would have had to cover the difference between 100k and 350k, meaning 250k a week would have had to come out of the club's pocket. The club would have had to pay $1 million, what's that, $1 million a month, yeah, 12 million a year until what, 2026 or 2027, I think it is his contract still. You know how jokes that is? The club didn't want to pay that 12 million a year for what, 2-3 years. Of course they didn't want to pay that. Of course they vetoed it. Of course they didn't want to sell him for that reason. Like, I'm thinking of what's the only logical reason as to why the club would veto the manager wanting to sell him. And I can't think it's because they feel like they could get something for him, i.e. the manager can get something out of him. He can be a good value to the team. Because if the manager's saying, I don't want this player, and he's not good enough, or he doesn't fit my standards, there is no way you should be forcing that player onto him. And this goes back, this goes back to previous managers. This goes back to previous managers who have wanted players in or players out, and the management have vetoed it. And have, you know, when Mourinho finished second, we brought Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk. You know how mental that is? Do you know how mental that... Like, I still can't get over that. I honestly cannot get over that. The fact that we finished second and we walked into a transfer window and walked out with Fred. That's crazy to me. Sancho has replaced Martial, so no, he's been given that Starboy soft life treatment at United. I can't lie though, if Sancho plays Warzone, he needs to holler at me, because if he's late to training because he's playing Warzone late at night, bro, come and let me carry you to wins. And then we can talk on the party chat about all of Manchester United's dramatics behind the scenes. To be honest, he's been cut a lot of slack. Only time he had issue was the Sky Sports 007 thing. Don't think he's had anywhere near the attack abuse other players have had. I'd say people have been making excuses for Sancho. The only people who have been scapegoating Sancho are anti-United media, talking heads on TalkSport, ESPN, etc. I will be honest. I think with this whole Sancho thing, I'll be honest, it's going to go two ways. I saw today, earlier this afternoon, Ten Hag and Sancho were expected to meet behind closed doors regarding clearing this all up. Sancho is going to come out. It's going to go two ways. It's either Sancho is going to get a disciplinary and he's going to go start working hard, make a statement online and say, you know, I apologize for, you know, my comments, blah, 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 blah. And then he's just going to be non-existent on social media for the rest of the season. Or he's going to get a disciplinary. He's going to get disciplinary, however many weeks deducted of his salary. And then he's going to be made to train with the under-21s. That's like, it goes one way or the other. I don't see us selling him unless we sell him to Turkey. It's Turkey and Saudi is the only two options we can sell him to right now. The only two with the open transfer window. But also, I don't think the manager would want to be one player light in the instance that someone else gets injured. Now, we could talk about scapegoating, and I'll be very honest. I feel like Sancho does not get half the criticism that Rashford gets, that Anthony gets, that Bruno gets. Martial, I don't think he gets even remotely half the criticism. I remember the end of last season, he was so frustrating. Like, and I walked into this season high hopes for Jadon Sancho. Also, I said that this would be the last year that I back him, but I genuinely feel like at this point, do you guys think United should just cut their losses in January, sell him 30 million if we can get 30 million for him? I don't know where he goes, because I saw that he reportedly feels like there was quite a few comments. I'll actually read it. There was quite a lot of comments coming out today regarding, you know, this whole Sancho situation. Let me just read it out to you guys quickly. Anthony, I'm not even going to speak about that. Okay, Fabrizio Romano was reporting earlier that Ten Hag and some of his Manchester United staff have not been happy with Jadon Sancho's level of training. Tensions have been around for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Sancho thinks there is something else, and those close to him insist he is doing his best. Ten Hag believes he did his best to help through a tough time last season and wants him to perform, otherwise he won't be selected. Is that bad? I can't see anything bad with that. I cannot. And obviously people close to him, people close to him feel he's doing his best. They are just going off of what Sancho is telling them, because they're not there at training with him. But one thing I will say is that if the manager is just saying that he feels like he supported you during a difficult time and you basically should work hard, what is wrong with that? I'm sorry, I don't understand how that can be a scapegoat. And I'm so glad, yeah, because I've seen a mix of opinions. I don't want to see another player versus manager situation at the club. I think we've seen that way too many times over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Yeah, I'm sick of that, first and foremost. But also, I don't like the way that Manchester United dramatics just play out in front of the world to see, in front of everybody. And I think Rich actually brings it. I wanted to bring this up as well. Just work harder then. Look at Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka is a perfect example, yeah. This brother was playing actually decent last year. Was dropped for Dalot, yeah. Was in and out of the starting lineup. Did not play. Did not make a starting appearance last year until after the World Cup. And just took off with his form. Took off. That's a prime example of somebody who basically works hard and tries his best. Clearly, he's doing something in training. Dalot was in ridiculous form going into the World Cup, guys, if you guys remember. He was in crazy form going into the World Cup. And then come back from the World Cup and got benched for Wan-Bissaka, where people were even saying, why is Wan-Bissaka still playing? You know, Dalot is in good attacking form. And even Dalot was playing a bit nervous at times when he came on, because he was probably thinking, shit, my spot is up for grabs right now because this guy is performing. Wan-Bissaka didn't sulk. Wan-Bissaka didn't come out online and you know what I realized? Players who are less active online tend to be the ones that just, you know, mind their business, work hard, all of that kind of stuff. So if Sancho wants to look at South London or look at London for inspiration, then look no further than Wan-Bissaka, because that is a prime. This guy, people wanted him sold. Even Rashford, we could even argue this Rashford point. Although he's been a bit questionable over the last few games, he's got, I think, 1 goal, 1 assist. Rashford, people wanted him sold. He came out and said it's redemption season. That's how you shut criticism up. That's how you show it on the pitch. And I think Rashford is a decent example, but I also think Wan-Bissaka for me is the perfect example, because for so long people said he wasn't good enough for United. People were questioning him, all of that stuff. He came in and just worked hard. And also, he came in at a time where he took his opportunity and ran with it. It was that period when, you know, when the World Cup ended and how United had a game against Burnley. I think it was 3 days after the World Cup ended. So, Dalot, a lot of players that went to the World Cup had a longer break after the World Cup, which meant players could use that opportunity to basically have a chance in it. And that's what Wan-Bissaka did. Played well against Burnley. Played well against, I think, on Boxing Day. And just kept playing well and kept Dalot out of the starting team. Left Dalot on the bench. So, in my opinion, and this is not just at Sancho, this is just at players in general. If you are being criticised, whether it's by pundits, whether it's by a manager, whether it's by fans, whoever you're being, just let it do the talking on the pitch. I don't want to see, and that's another reason, guys. I do not like when we lose, or when we used to lose heavy, and then players would come out with a statement online saying, oh, this is not good enough, we need to, just shut up, just shush, and let it do. Next game, you perform. And the game after that, and the game after that, and the game after that. You just continuously perform. Then when we held 7 to Liverpool. Okay, the next time we come across them, don't hold 7. It's as simple as that. Give 100%. I don't want to see you diving around on the floor, getting angry because the ref ain't giving you calls. Get up and get on with it. Let your playing do the talking for you. And I think Jadon Sancho, if he feels hard hit, I think one thing I'll say is if he feels hard hit at the fact that he's lost his space in the England squad, let's be very honest, guys. Even if he was performing, do you think he's getting in ahead of the likes of Saka, Foden, Grealish, Rashford, maybe Bowen? If Bowen got a call up, I don't know who got. I don't really care about international breaks, so I don't even know who got a call up this time around. But is even if Sancho's playing good, even when he was playing well at Manchester United, not at Dortmund, yeah, not at Dortmund, when he was playing well at Manchester United, or if he's been playing well at Manchester United, do you think he is getting in over Foden, Grealish, and them guys? Saka? No, probably not. Probably not. And I feel like he got into that Euros team because of his form from Borussia Dortmund. Because for so long we've been holding on to this idea of Sancho. And I think that's what messes us up as fans. Is that we are so in love with the idea of what Sancho was, that we're thinking we can pluck him out of Borussia Dortmund and put him into Manchester United and he'll be the same player. It's not necessarily always like that. Honestly, call me crazy, but I'll take Dalot playing at left back at some points this season. Keep Luke Shaw fit as well. Luke Shaw, his inability to stay fit is a reason why I will never think that he's world class. I think he's good and he's talented, but I think when you just can't stay fit, it's kind of questionable. You can't coach a technical football to play anti-football. It's why Sancho and Donny don't work. Eriksen fits the system because he can't run, so he just stays back with Casemiro. Honestly, I got an idea. Your social media should only involve club posts once you're a footballer. Have private personal accounts to post whatever you want to avoid public scrutiny, which is what most footballers do. I know a few footballers, that's exactly what they do. They have their public social media page, which is normally their Instagram, Twitter, etc. Most footballers I know don't even use Twitter like that. They're more active on Instagram and Snapchat. And then they have private accounts and they only follow, like on their private accounts, they only follow their friends, close friends and family. And most of the time they don't post like reckless stuff. I mean, don't you guys remember, I think it was Wayne Rooney had a burner account. That's how the whole, no, it wasn't Wayne Rooney, it was his wife. Even Wayne Rooney's wife had a burner account, Colleen Rooney. And that's how the whole Vardy situation happened, if you guys remember. But I totally agree. I think players need to be social media trained. I think in this day and age of football right now, everything, you're in the public eye and everything is under more scrutiny because of social media. You make one mistake on the pitch, that's getting clipped, it's going on TikTok. You make one little mistake on the pitch, it's getting clipped, it's going on Twitter. People are using it as a meme. It's going to happen. And I think players should just, I would say, not engage online, but it's difficult. We live in the day of age of social media. Like, we literally live, like, if you guys follow basketball, if any of you guys follow basketball, right? Kevin Durant actively participates on Twitter Spaces where I've seen people calling him a bum. I've seen people cussing him on Twitter and he's going at them, they're going at him, and it's hilarious. But I think that would never work in football because footballers are so sensitive in comparison to basketball players. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is. But I've seen basketballers clap back at fans online. I've seen them diss people back, and it's never like reckless disses, but they'll see a tweet go viral about them and they'll quote tweet it and they'll cuss the person that made it. If that ever happened in football, that would never happen. That would never ever happen. But guys, before I wrap it up quickly, things that we learned, what we learned after game week 4. Number 1, Rasmus Højlund needs to start. He needs to be our focal point of that front line. That's number 1 for me. Number 2, Maguire and Evans in the back line. We are pissed. We are pissed if we are going to the Allianz Arena with those two in the back. Yeah, we are pissed. We are messed up. It's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good at all. Number 3, I cannot wait to see Amrabat in that lineup. I cannot wait to see Amrabat in that lineup. Honestly, they need to announce what number he's wearing, because I actually hope he wears number 34. Donny van der Beek, hand that shirt over. I know you guys wear it for the same sentimental reasons, because it's Abdelhak Nouri's number that you guys used to play with in, Van der Beek played with in the Ajax Academy. And obviously, he knows him. Amrabat knows him as well. But I need that Amrabat shirt, so they need to announce what number he's going to wear. But I can't wait to see Amrabat. I'm curious to see how it works. Sorry guys, it's not easy being on a stream for like an hour and talking a lot and not having to drink water. I don't know how Owen does it. I saw him on a stream the other day on his channel for 5 hours. I was thinking, right, is he not eating on the stream? Is he not drinking? Is that just 5 hours of pure talking? I respect, if there's anybody I respect, yeah, I respect everybody, of course. But Owen is a like, that guy will do a stream at 1 in the morning, wrestling, yeah. Then I will wake up 9 o'clock and I'll see him doing a stream on United View. He is serious. Owen is serious. But honestly, guys, it's not easy. Just sitting here talking, yeah, with no water. And Mina said water. That's how we pronounce it, guys. That's how, sorry, water. Water. It's because we don't pronounce the T. I know, I realize it more when, I realize it more when I'm talking to a non-British person. You know, when I speak to my cousins, like, from America and whatever, they're always like, oh, can you say water? 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 So that's how we say it. Water. Can you get me some water? But, guys, before I kind of start going on a random tangent, number 3, what else have we learned? Oh, no. Number 3 was, I can't wait to see Amrabat in that starting lineup. Number 4 is, Eriksen deserves a lot more credit, I think, than he's actually given. I think yesterday he had a good game until about the, I would say maybe 70th minute, when I saw his legs starting to go a little bit. I think he had a good game. I think he was solid in the midfield, allowed Casemiro to get a bit more forward. Especially, I think that assist is kind of it's underanalyzed. I guess it's kind of gone under the radar because of everything else that's happened. But that assist that he played, guys, he took it in his stride, right? A guy that we say has no legs, he took it in the stride, and he played it inch perfect. It wasn't over hit and it wasn't under hit. It was just perfect. It was just perfect. It's like he knew Rashford's speed and where he would get to by the time the ball was at a certain destination, and he played it perfectly. So Eriksen, I think, deserved a lot more credit yesterday. Obviously, the goal that we conceded after 30 seconds or whatever it was is not good enough. Defensively, we know that Eriksen has his flaws, but I think Eriksen deserves credit. And number 5, I will say, guys, lastly, things will get better, okay? Please don't be reactionary. I don't say Ten Hag out, or this player's crap, or Højlund's crap, Anthony's crap, this person's crap. Guys, patience. I promise it's gonna be, and I said this at the beginning of the season, it's gonna be a roller coaster of a season. It's gonna be a roller coaster. Sometimes we'll be at low points and sometimes we will be at high points. Honestly, I think it will get better. We just have to be patient. And I feel like with football, not just Manchester United, but just in football in general, fans have just lost their patience. And you look outside of the Premier League, for example, PSG went through how many managers? Bayern Munich, how many managers? They've lost patience in football because people just want, bam, quick achievements. Bam, you come in, win trophies, win silverware, win this, win that. Guys, be patient, okay? That's all I will say. Just be patient. Let me wrap this up with Suleiman's question. Quick question. Would you take Enzo from Chelsea to play the Eriksen role? I would. I like Enzo. I'm a big fan of him. Not a big fan of him, but I'm fond of him. The very few instances, guys, that I watch Chelsea, because I don't watch them. I mean, why would you watch Chelsea? I don't know. But I would take him 100%. Not at that price that they bought him for, but I would definitely take him. I think they also inflated the market. I don't think he would have went for that price in the summer, if I'm being honest. I don't think he would have went for that much. But that's just my opinion. But, guys, before I wrap it up, I am considering to start doing non-United content. So if you guys would like for us to just hate on other clubs collectively here, whoever it is, it could be Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle, anyone, West Ham, just lots of hating, just a lot of hating, hateration. We need hateration in this dancery. I'm going to do more, not just Premier League, just Europe content as well, for us to hate in peace, hate in a safe space, and just hate collectively. Because you know what it is? It's the United Nations of hate. That's what it's going to be called. It's going to be called I'm going to do more streams. I will do similar to a Vibe Along, but we'll call it the United Nations of Hate. And we will just hate on teams. So whatever games are coming up, we will hate. Obviously, it's international break. But after the international break, we will be here live and direct hating. But if you guys have not, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Big up to everybody for sticking around for this long. As you know, I hit 1K on this channel, which means, guys, memberships are coming soon. It's gonna come soon. I think I can, maybe in the next month or so, I'm sensing that it might come. And I've got some great content lined up for membership. Of course, I will be playing KG on stream. I think he said when the new FIFA comes out, because he's scared. KG is scared of me. I feel like, you know what I have to do? I just have to turn up at UV Studio when they're doing KG and Flex FIFA session. And I just have to tell KG, just play me right there and then. But you know what? I'm going to be patient, because I don't want him to accuse me of bullying him. If you guys tune into the full view later on today, make sure you guys tell KG to stop ducking me. Yeah, make sure you lot put it in the comments. Tell him stop ducking Mina. But big up to everyone. As always, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Got a lot of content coming throughout the week. Even though it's international break, might stream some buy-alongs for some of the international games. Big up to everyone. In about half an hour, make sure you lot come over to UV and, you know, come over to the full view. But you already know what it is, guys. As always, it's your girl Mina. Until next time, peace.